Fifth grade Excel, lesson number 43. We're going to be looking at comparing fractions and then putting simple fractions in order from least to greatest and greatest to least. Put these fractions in order from least to greatest. Well, all of the fractions are fifths. Okay, so the smallest amount of fifths would be 1/5. And one way of thinking of that is if I divide, that's not very good, but this is a pie that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One piece of that pie is going to be less than two pieces of the pie, obviously, or 3 or 4. So the smallest is 1/5. The next biggest is 2/5. Go ahead and write this on your paper. 3/5, and then 4/5. Pause the video, try number 2, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solution. All right, the smallest or the least least fraction here is 2/9, and then we go to 5/9, and then 6/9, and 7/9. Hopefully you got that one right. That should be pretty simple. How do fractional parts compare when the whole is divided into more pieces? Below are 3 pies of equal size. Here's 1, 2, 3 pies. They have been cut into halves, right here, fourths, right here, and eighths, right here. What can you say about cutting pies into pieces? So write a real quick sentence right here that tells what you think happens when you cut the pie into more pieces. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see what my sentence is. All right, I'm going to say the more pieces you have, the smaller they get. And some of you try to write the shortest sentence you possibly can just to do the least amount of work, and just remember, that's just a ridiculously lazy thing to do. How long does it take you to write a few extra words and make your answer a quality answer rather than a lousy answer? It's just not worth saving the time. So don't be so lazy. But here we go, on to the next part. So it says, in these fractions, put these fractions in order from least to greatest. Which fraction in each set has the least value? Okay, so we have 1/7, 1/3, 1/4, 1/8, and 1/5. Which one of these is the smallest? Well, normally you would look at the 8 and you'd say, well, the 8 is the biggest because 8 is bigger than 7 and 5 and 4 and 3. But when we cut the pie into 8 pieces, 1/8 is actually the smallest piece because there are more pieces that the pie is getting cut into. So the more pieces you cut it into, the smaller the pieces get. So this 1/8 is the smallest fraction, and then we go up a little bit larger to 1/7, 1/5, 1/4, and 1/3, and then they circled the fraction that is the least value, that has the least value there. Let's try number 4 together. We're going from least to greatest, and so we look actually for the largest denominator, right? 1/9 is going to be the smallest one. I'm going to circle that because that is the smallest. 1/8, 1/5, 1/4, and 1/2. All I'm doing is just following along with those denominators since the numerators are all the same. All right, pause the video and then do numbers 5 and 6, but notice that this is from greatest to least, and we still circle. Oh, we're going to write the fraction. Right? Which fraction? Okay, so we're still going to circle the fraction that's the least, but we are going to write these starting with greatest here down to least over there. So be careful when you put these in the order that you're supposed to put them in. Pause the video now, turn it back on when you're ready for the solution. All right, the greatest fraction out of all these, the largest piece, is 1/2. And then the next biggest one would be 1/3, and then 1/4, 1/5, and 1/6. The smallest is 1/6, so I circled that right there. Now if you mess that one up, you might want to pause the video, fix your answer here, and then go back and fix number 6 before you see me write the solution. You're going to learn a lot more if you do it that way than if you just watch me do it and see that you got it wrong. All right, so again, we're starting with the greatest fraction here, and in this case, 1/4 is going to be the largest one, and then 1/5, 1/8, 1/10, and 1/13. Notice the numerators are getting larger as I'm getting smaller. These are getting smaller as they go. So 1/13 has the least value of all those fractions there. All right, it says circle the denominator in the fraction in the set with the least value. So which of these has the least value? You're going to circle the denominator. 1/7 is worth less than 1/4 or 1/2. Again, remember that when you cut it into more pieces, the pieces get smaller. All right, go ahead and pause the video, do 8 and 9, turn the video back on when you're ready to see the solution. The greatest value in here is going to be 1/3, because if you cut the pie into only 3 pieces, those pieces are going to be pretty big compared to if you cut them into 8 pieces, or bigger than if you cut it into 4. So you should not circle either one of these, just circle the 3. Now, which one's the least value out of all these? Well, the one that has the largest denominator, 1/5. Those are more pieces, so the pieces get smaller. All right, hopefully you understood a little bit about fractions today. Thanks for watching.